Hi guys, I'm Sam Poursoltan from Blunivo here. I created this 15 minutes video to cover some of the fundamentals of large language models. I've also discussed some of the current models we have in the market, and I finished this video with the limitation challenges we have in the market. Hopefully you'll be able to learn something new from this video, and please use comments if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
So today's topic is about large language models or LLMs. LLMs are powerful AI systems that are designed to understand and generate human-like responses based on a huge amount of text data. Think of LLMs as super smart system that read and learn from tons of text, and that could be books, articles, and websites. And they basically use this information to respond to your questions or prompts in a way that sounds very natural. So the question is, how do they work? These models start by analyzing massive data sets to understand the patterns and the structure of a language. Then they create an internal map of how we use words and the sentences. And once this map is built, then they can generate responses to any text input you give them. If you look at the history and evolution of LLMs, you may notice that these models have been around for quite some time, and you may ask yourself why these making headlines now. There are a bunch of reasons that we can talk about. The first one is the recent advancement. So, in recent years, we've seen amazing improvement in how these models are trained, and one of the biggest jump that we had in performance came from being able to integrating human feedback into the training process. These means the models now can learn not just from the data, but also from human corrections and suggestions. The second reason could be the accessibility. So, with the release of ChatGPT, LLMs become available to everyone with internet access. Before this, we only had researchers with lots of resources and technical knowledge could actually use these advanced models. Now anyone can try out these powerful tools using just simple web interface. And the growing computational power was another reason. So the growth of powerful computing resources like GPUs has enabled us and enabled researchers to train much larger models. This increase in computational power has significantly improved the performance of LLMs. And last but not least, that's the reason, the one of the main reasons is the training data. So better data collection and analysis techniques have also played a big role in improving these models. For example, some technology companies like Databricks showed that even a smaller model can perform incredibly well if trained on high quality data. So we want to use this LLM, right? And you probably ask, what organization using large language models for? They can use it in many ways. They can power chatbots and virtual assistant to help with customer support and troubleshooting, for instance. LLM can also generate and debug code by providing useful snippets and even referencing company documentation. They may perform sentiment analysis to understand emotions in text, by which they can improve customer satisfaction. Um, we see some organizations use LLM to categorize and sort large amounts of data to identify trends and perhaps support decision making. Um, you might have noticed that they can translate content um, in different languages. You may use it for summarizing long texts like meetings, or even generate contents um, from detailed prompts. And all of these make the task easier and and more efficient for a lot of businesses. So let's explore the main types of large language models, or LLMs, that are used in machine learning and natural language processing. So the first type that I'm gonna touch on is the transformer based models. These are the superstars because they're using advanced architecture to process and generate text by understanding word relationships that give us accurate results. The second type, um, is recurrent neural networks, or RNNs. These are slightly over type. You may want to check my other videos on Gen AI history, which I covered RNN in more details. So these models handle word sequences very well, and they're doing really well in language translation and sentiment analysis by remembering past information to catch word order and meaning. And then we have the hybrid model, and as the name suggests, it's combining the strengths of both transformers and RNN, and it tries to leverage transformers parallel processing and RNN sequential abilities. And I guess this makes them very effective for applications like chatbots, virtual assistants, and even text generation. These three types of LLM, as I just covered, bring unique strengths to various applications, which make them essential tool in the world of AI. If I want to make some examples for um, transformers, um, transformer-based models, a popular example is um, GPT-4 by OpenAI, which is known for the advanced natural language processing capabilities. For RNN, the long short-term memory, or LSTM model, is commonly used for tasks like language modeling and machine translation. And for hybrid models that combine the strengths of transformers and RNNs, um, one of the very popular one is T5, or text to text transfer transformer, that's invented by Google. Is a great example, and um, this model is quite versatile in handling various natural language processing tasks. Now we talked about the major types of LLM. Let's talk about some of the most popular large language models today. I mentioned few already. So first up is GPT-4, which continues to be a leader in natural language processing, with the great ability to generate human-like text, It helps us to answer questions and even create contents. Then we have the Palm 2 from Google. It's well known for its impressive multilingual capabilities and also advanced reasoning skills. You might have heard of Gemini as well. Gemini is another standout that is really powerful in specific domains like finance and healthcare, because it's used very specialized training data. If we want to discuss a bit more about V1, Cloud V1 offers exceptional performance in creative tasks, and it actually making it a very attractive candidate for generative, innovative content and ideas. Lastly, we have Falcon. Falcon is the first, or Falcon is the first open source model in our list. It's developed by the Technology Innovation Institute in UAE. And what makes Falcon unique is its open source Apache license, because it allows us to use it for commercial purposes without royalties or restrictions. And you probably want to know that Falcon comes in two versions, one with 40 billion and the other one with 7 billion parameters. And this one specifically is fine-tuned for chatting, which makes it very versatile and accessible for various applications. So before we dive into the challenges and limitation of LLMs, let's quickly talk about responsible AI. So responsible AI means creating and using AI systems that are ethical, transparent, and fair. It's about making sure AI benefits society while reducing risk and harms. And obviously the goal is to build trust in AI by ensuring it aligns with our values and respects human rights and dignity. The reason I mentioned that is there is a bit of overlap between this and some of the LLM limitations that I'm going to touch on quickly. So what are the limitations and challenges that we have with LLMs? So first off, LLMs need a lot of computational power, and training these models needs powerful GPUs and lots of memory, which makes it very expensive and time consuming. And I guess this means that not everyone can easily access or use these advanced models because they need a lot of resources. Another big issue we're facing is the data bias. Since LLMs learn from large amount of data, they can pick up and even sometimes amplify biases present in the data. And this could give us unfair outcomes in the text that they generate. So making sure these models are fair and unbiased, it could be a continuous challenge. And we also have to think about the ethical use of LLMs. They can create very convincing text, which again can be used to generate fake news, for example, or harmful contents. And another challenge that LLMs facing is understanding context and common sense is another area where LLMs often have issues. They can sometimes produce text that doesn't make much sense because they're highly dependent on patterns in the data um, rather than true understanding of the data, if that makes sense. And transparency is also another concern because LLMs are often seen as black boxes. Um, it's sometimes very hard to understand how they make decisions, and this lack of explainability can affect the user trust and accountability. Data privacy is also an issue, because most of the times LLMs trained on large data sets, and they might accidentally memorize and reveal sensitive information. So we need to make sure that robust security measures are in place to protect our sensitive information. And the other challenge that we're facing with LLM is adapting LLMs to new tasks or specific domains can be relatively challenging because it requires a lot of task specific data, and these models may not perform well with inputs they weren't specifically trained on. And lastly, there is the environmental impact. So training large LLMs use a lot of energy, which contributes to carbon emissions. So we need to find more energy efficient ways to train these models to reduce the environmental footprint. I guess addressing all these challenges that I mentioned here is quite important, um, for the responsible, effective use of LLMs, and ongoing research and collaboration are key to overcoming these limitations and ensuring the LLMs are used ethically and beneficially. Thanks for listening. I just tried to cover some of the fundamentals about LLMs and also um, mention few of the challenges. Hopefully, you guys been able to learn something new. Please check out my other videos and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.